Hello, welcome gamers. I'm gonna cut straight to the point and screw the intro. Let's talk about the most busted and broken thing introduced into the game this season, in that being Banner of War. To put it simply, Banner of War is like taking Well of Radiance, but putting wheels on it so you can travel with it wherever you want. Also, the wheels are injected with steroids and also the juice that Bane uses in Batman to make himself all green. What I'm actually saying is, not only does this aspect heal you like crazy, it also outputs absurd damage to the point where it makes boss fights a complete joke. Here's a quick clip of me using Banner of War and its melee buff capabilities against Ektar, and I'm by myself solo. Take note of how little damage I'm taking and how much damage I do overall through utilizing my melee. Oh my god, dude. Oh my god, I can actually... Dude, that has potential to two-phase. As you saw in the clip, I quite literally did not lose any more than maybe 5% HP the entire time that I had Banner of War up. And the only time I ever did take damage was when the full timer finally ran out. And by that point, I had unleashed a metric F-ton of damage on the boss. Now, in case you're thinking, oh, maybe Ektar just wasn't hitting you a whole lot, and that's why really your health was staying up, here's a clip of me literally trying to wipe myself so we can restart the encounter. And the game, or rather the banner, says, no, buddy, you're not dying today. No, sir. Let's find out, shall we? I'll put on a cowboy hat while we're at it. So how's the weather in you guys' area? Good? Yeah? Let's have some small talk. You know, we're almost dead. It's getting pretty close, guys. I'm not sure. Any second now, I'm sure that this plate will kill us. Yeah, it's super dumb. The best part about the build is that if you play Titan, literally anybody can pick this up, and bam, you're good to go. As soon as you put on the aspect, you can turn into a god. All you need is to pick a melee variant flavor of the week that you'd like. For example, you can just use regular melees, like your fists in game, or you can use swords if you want heavy damage, or you can opt to use my personal favorite, glaives, because they provide a similar effect to swords, especially if you use close to melee. We'll get to that. And it's technically unlimited ammo, as swinging your glaive with the melee animation doesn't take any ammo. The build is going to be catered around our melees and our super, so for that reason, our build overall is going to be catering around optimizing getting your melees back as fast as humanly possible, and through that, getting back your super as fast as possible as well. Now, the general concept is to get the X4 Banner of War just through getting kills and getting there as fast as you can. However, there are some steps you can take to get there faster than usual. For example, you can kill a bunch of trash mobs, red bars, to get there eventually on X4, but you can actually increase this a little faster if you go after orange bar or yellow bar enemies, as those will give you an instant stack automatically. What I mean by this is, let's say you killed one red bar enemy and you have your initial Banner of War. Instead of killing another 8 red bar enemies, or whatever the number would be, you would then go after an orange bar knight. That orange bar knight, when it's defeated, you would get an extra stack of Banner of War, meaning you go to X2 right away automatically. And then anything after that would give you extra time from the trash mobs. And you can kill another orange bar, go to X3, kill a yellow bar, go to X4, and so on. So the higher rank enemies that you kill, the faster you will get to your X4. Everything after you get the X4 will just replenish the timer that you have on your timer, starting at 30 seconds and going down. If you're trying to fight bosses, the best thing you can do before a damage phase is probably let your banner initially run out. The reason behind this is that once it runs out and you're right before your damage phase, you replenish it by killing a bunch of enemies or a couple of orange bars and get right back to X4 while also having 30 seconds or close to that on the timer, and then going into the damage phase with a maximum timer, or as much as you can. For your weapons, like I mentioned earlier, my personal favorite is the glaive. I think this is the best output for melee damage you can have, because again, you have unlimited ammo. Glaive melees don't count as ammo, so you can always keep poking people with a stick over and over until your heart's content. Whereas swords, you can run out of ammo, for one, and number two, that slot will be occupied by something else. That something else here will be tractor cannon, because tractor cannon will debuff any champions, bosses, Hive Guardians, etc., and give you a 30% extra damage debuff when you're going to be using your melees on them. Your final slot will go to a 1-2 punch shotgun, because that also will increase your ongoing melee damage, which will make our melees and our super melees absolutely insane against bosses. You don't have to use a particular shotgun to get your 1-2 punch off. I'm personally a fan of Wastelander, so I went with that, but you could basically use any kinetic slot shotty, like, let's say, Astral Horizon, if you happen to have one. The exotic of choice for your armor is, of course, going to be Synthoceps, because, again, we're stacking everything into abusing our melee, and Synthos makes that very, very easy for us, and just getting surrounded by enemies while you're being healed consistently over and over with your Well of Radiance on wheels, you'll never die, and you'll always have Biotics procced, and then you can just meme any boss that you want. Don't forget, by the way, your Well of Radiance on wheels, it also heals your teammates too. So it won't just keep you alive, it'll keep your teammates alive for as long as you have it active as well, if that wasn't already broken enough. Now let's get into mods, but I do want to mention one thing before that. I will be making a build dim link for this in the description below in case anybody wants to use it. As soon as loadouts are back on the game, hopefully on Tuesday, Bungie, please, thank you, I'll put it down there. But in the meantime, let's talk about mods. And also, while you're in the description, maybe hit that like button and leave a comment or sub today. It does help the channel to beat the old YouTube algorithm. Much appreciated. Moving on, let's talk about mods in armor. Starting from the top, let's talk about helmet. Helmet is probably your most least concerned armor piece going into this. I would say the only thing that's borderline mandatory is probably going to be hands-on, just to get super energy off of melee kills to get your berserker faster, but that's not really mandatory per se. Now, the other thing is heavy ammo finder, pretty standard, just in the event that you're lacking tractor cannon ammo and you just need extra bricks, pretty much. For your gloves, there's going to be two mods that I would recommend here. One is heavy-handed, to make orbs of power when you get melee kills, which will be all the time. And then the other would be momentum transfer, causing damage with a grenade, reduces your melee cooldown. This includes grappling onto enemies. By the way, you can grapple onto enemies and still do the 1-2 punch combo. Really handy there for that. Your chest mods are pretty much just going to be dedicated to resistance on whatever enemy that you're fighting that you need to resist on, Arc, Void, Solar, etc. Or you can maybe throw in one reserve mod for tractor cannon in there if you'd like. For your boots, you're not going to need any surge mods because your damage is going to be basically just your melee and your super, and you can't surge those. So I opted to go with healing / defense / regen mods in this slot. Those being Better Already, Recuperation, and Absolution. The first two are for healing aspects, and the last one is just to reduce your cooldowns on all your abilities, including your melee and your super. Then, going into class item, we have Double Outreach, reduce your melee cooldown when using your class ability, your Barricade, all the time. And then the last slot is going to go to Distribution, just to reduce your ability cooldowns even more for your melee and your super. Finally, the last thing I want to mention is the 1-2 punch combo to set up the nasty damage in this build. The combo is going to go as follows. Try to just get used to it and get comfortable with it, and once you do, it's just going to come in second hand, like you're riding a bike, basically. So, you go in, and you start with a tractor cannon shot to debuff an enemy, boss, champion, whatever it might be. As soon as you tractor cannon them, you take out your 1-2 punch shotty, whatever that may be, you take a shot off, and then from there, you use your melee. Now, one thing to note here is that you can get off 2 of these slice melees for one 1-2 punch shotty shot. So you can go in, shotty, and then go melee. After that, you need to shoot another shotgun shot and then get off your third melee to get rid of all of them. At that point, you go back to tractor cannon and then reapply the debuff on the enemy so the timer isn't low and running out, and then go back to your shotgun one more time, get that 1-2 punch shotty shot off, and then pop your super. And from here on out, you just wail on whatever it is with the super until it's dead. M1, M2, doesn't matter. I personally just spam M1. And then eventually the boss will probably melt away, especially if you have more than one of these builds rolling around. I cannot stress enough that this build will be used literally everywhere, assuming that Bungie does not disable it or touch it in some dramatic fashion. It'll be used in raids, dungeons, GMs, seasonal activities, patrols to bully dregs, literally everywhere. I do not see a downside to this build anywhere, except for maybe Samuma in Ghosts of the Deep, literally just because she floats around and hit detection with melees is kind of bad in this game. Outside of that, pretty much using it everywhere and being an absolute god while using it. So that is the build in a nutshell. Let me know what you guys think. Do you plan to run this around everywhere? Do you plan to bring it into day 1 for Crota? You think it's god tier? Do you think it's going to get nerfed, disabled, etc.? Let me know in the comments below. And as always, I'll catch you guys in the next video. Once again, like, share, subscribe, does help the channel. Much appreciated. Beat the algorithm. I'm out. Enjoy. Goodbye.